All right, y'all, where my people at? It is time for Tao of the Day. I'm looking for you to give me a number between 1 and 81. So why don't you just pop on and let me know that you're. Oh, Catherine, you are brilliant. You are so great. I am here with my buddy. We had some we had some card pulling yesterday.
34.
34. 3, 4.
7.
7?
No, but 34. 3 plus 4 is 7.
Oh, yes.
And you are the
Numerology.
7
Oh, yeah.
from yesterday, remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. The great Tao flows everywhere. All things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them. It pours itself into its work, yet it makes no claim. It nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them. Since it is merged with all things and hidden in their hearts, it can be called humble. Since all things vanish into it, and it alone endures, it can be called great. It isn't aware of its greatness. Thus, it is truly great. I'm lost on this one a little bit. I've
Oh,
read it
really?
a little bit. So,
I don't
what
know.
are
I
your?
like it. Let's go line
I
by
yeah.
line.
Okay. So the great Tao flows everywhere. So that's
Yes.
clear. We know that the Tao is in everything. We're under that. We know that. All things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them.
Oh, so I love this because to me it is it feels as though it's like, okay, so your intuition is always available. The Tao is always there. It's always moving and flowing, like the energy that we have. And if we try to make it do something, it just doesn't come together. We talked about that. And
Mm-hmm.
so if trying to create it that's not our job.
So I see this a little differently. I see all things are born from the Tao, right? From
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Yet it, the Tao,
Energy.
doesn't create them.
Right.
So I look at that as like this speaks to me in the sense of manifestation, right? Like
Okay. Yeah.
you can utilize this energy, and you can utilize the world around you to create the possibilities and choose the possibilities that are in the field. And yet the Tao doesn't create those. Like each individual cell in the universe creates its own reality,
Mm-hmm.
and will create the experience that it has in conjunction with all other things. And yet the Tao itself doesn't create things. Like it is the field in which things are created, and yet
Right. It is.
it.
So for me, it's like it is the intuitive knowing, the feeling, the seeing, that. But then intuition, when you get that, doesn't create the thing. You have to act upon it to move it forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is you that does the
Yeah.
creating, but the Tao only has presented the space for creation to exist, and it
Mm-hmm.
flows everywhere. So
Yep.
everywhere there is a creation to exist something. So no matter where you are, whether you're like on top of the world or you're huddled up under your covers, like there is, all things are born from it. So all of the experiences that you had are born from the Tao, but it doesn't create them. You are here creating that.
Right.
That's beautiful.
You must
It
act upon them.
Yes, it pours itself into its work, yet it makes no claim.
Mm-hmm.
So I get
Yeah.
that as just like it will, like every ounce of the Tao is here working all the time, and yet
Yes.
it isn't taking credit for any of it. It's not trying to even be seen as taking credit for it. There is that one chapter that states, the great master is the one that is hardly seen. And then at the end of that verse, it says something to the effect of, when their work is done, the people say, we did it ourselves. And that is what this says to me.
Yes, it is. It goes back to that of, you get the signs. You have to watch for the signs. They're always there, but
Yeah.
it's your responsibility to move it forward,
Yeah.
to
And the
act
Tao's
upon
not
it.
coming in and saying, hey, I did that.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that's me, by the way. BT
Right.
dubs. That's all me. Like, you didn't do that.
Do you need? I'm talking to Spencer.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering, do I need to go out? No, I think I'm okay. Dispenser. That's the question. Okay, so the next line, um, it nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them. And I think, like, if we were to try and emulate the Tao in our lives, that would be very much, what I try to do here with Tao of the Day, and where, like, I'm trying to nourish. What I want to do is nourish infinite different worlds, because each one of us, the world is different for each one of us, right? Like, our
Yes.
perception of the world and how it works and what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's false, all that kind of stuff. Those are all individual worlds, and there are infinite worlds out there, and we can nourish each one of those by allowing them to be as they are, without trying to make them the way we want them to be.
And that is so important and so hard.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is about, you know, not making things the way we want them to be, to allow it to flow.
Yeah. And
And
that
that
way, in that way, we
nourishing.
can nourish. Yeah.
Yes.
I was I
Yes.
was just talking with someone a little bit ago about, like, addiction and other things like that. And, you know, this differentiation between, like, love and anything else, right, can really kind of get us in a bind, because we might not be able to see love in another person if they don't define love the same way we do.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
that's a beautiful way of looking at it. Like, understand that we can still nourish this moment by accepting and respecting you for who you are. That doesn't mean I have to be that doesn't mean I have to be hurt, or doesn't mean I have to put myself in danger for that, but I can be here present with you.
Yeah,
Since it
that is so
is,
true.
no, please.
I think that's so true, and it's such an important thing to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Since it is merged with all things and hidden in their hearts, it can be called humble.
Yeah, I think this one's a one that people struggle with. For me, I get this is, um, how do you tell the difference between the feelings of intuition, the feelings of the signs of your path, versus what you're thinking, your emotions, your inspired thought, all of that. How do you find that? And to me, that's where this comes from.
Yeah. And the thing is, everything, and this is interesting, like, I like to talk about the fact that, like, I believe, whether it's true or not, and people want to, like, argue that, I don't know, like, that everything has consciousness, right? Walls,
Hmm.
rock, tree,
Yeah.
like, everything has consciousness. And and the Tao is within all of that. And
Right.
and and it is hidden, like, the Tao is hidden in the hearts of all of those things. And,
Hmm.
like, it doesn't have to be a physical heart, but, like, that energetic heart of the thing, it can be called humble. So the Tao can be called humble because it is in all things, and it can be a stone at the bottom of a river that will never be seen by a person, right? Like, and it is
Right.
still doing, and without that stone, would nobody would know if that stone was removed. And yet, if it was removed, everything would be different.
Yeah, and to me, that's intuition is constantly running, and I think people follow it more often than they realize,
Yeah.
and because they can't identify it, and put words to it, they don't acknowledge that it's there. But to me, that's so much about that. And being humble is that you actually don't have to identify. You just have to be accepting of it and open to it. And that's why,
Yeah.
like, that one step is just be open to the fact that it exists. And so
Yeah.
the humbleness says it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be named. It just helps each other
It's
to move
like
to that level.
intuition is not trying to take credit.
Right.
Intuition is not trying to, and that's why so many people can run around and say it was me, it was me, it was me. And
Yes.
intuition isn't coming in and saying, well, actually, like,
Yeah.
I
Well, I
did
just want
this.
to
Like,
mention
yeah,
thank
just
you
want to
for
say,
that
yeah.
award.
Yeah. Since all things vanish into it and it alone endures, it can be called great.
All
See,
things leave into it.
everything vanishes into it.
Everything vanishes into it. Yeah, that is true. Everything does vanish into it. You know, your emotions vanish into it, your thoughts vanish into it. If you can focus in and just allow and lean into that intuition, the other stuff does vanish away.
And there is
And
intuition in all things. And so
yes,
even the stones that are going to
yes,
outlast each and every one of us, like
yes.
they are moving at a rate, and their consciousness is moving at a rate that is different from ours. But that doesn't mean that they are not self-conscious about like where they're going.
Yeah, I like
And
this.
they will like ultimately this entire universe, has an end because it has physicality. So ultimately it will end at some point because it is physical. And everything will vanish back into it, and all of that consciousness will go, and so it can be called great. Like that which everything will vanish into can be called great.
And if we simplify that, that is when you lean into your intuition, the other swirling dervish thoughts and emotions and all
Mm-hmm.
of that will vanish into it and give you that freedom of just being in with intuition, just letting it be.
Yeah,
Let it
it
be.
isn't
Let it be.
aware. It isn't aware of its greatness, thus it is truly great.
Yeah, like we said, it's not standing in line for a big award.
No. And it does it I mentioned on that talk that I was on earlier this morning about addiction and stuff, is that like, so much of our religious understanding of God is transactional, and where it's like, oh, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. As long as you're not gay, I'm going to love you. As long as you're not this, I'm going to love you. And all of those sorts of like, things that we've written throughout the years of like this God that is transactional. But like here, we're saying like the great Tao flows everywhere, and yet it's not making any claims. It's not trying to get you to love it. It's not trying to do anything. It is just allowing you to be who you are, whether that's a crack addict or if it's a great leader, whatever. So it is truly great because it isn't even aware of its greatness. It is just doing what it does. It's just putting itself in its work. As it said, it pours itself into its work, yet makes no claim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is, to tap in to all of that, to experience that greatness is when we have to relax into it and allow everything else to fall away.
Yes. Yes.
But it doesn't need a party, and it doesn't need a big show and tell or anything like that. It's just
No.
always there.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't even need me here on Wisdom telling you guys about it because it
No,
knows
what are we doing? We're
it's
wasting our
playing
time
profound.
here. We're not supposed to talk about it. No, just kidding.
this
Too
is
much
this is
fanfare.
Yes, too much fanfare. No, yes, this is beautiful. I'm really glad that we ended up going through this one because, like, when I first read it, I was very much kind of like, I don't know what to think about this. And I know I've read this one before, and so I do know that they're all there. But in the moment after I
Hmm.
read it, I was very much, and I think when I started talking today, I was not, it was, I should have stopped and taken a breath because
Hmm.
I think I was a little shaken, just inside. I think there's just something that wasn't in line.
It's the other thing is interesting. I did a talk last night on wisdom, and it's been a bit, and I definitely did not mean for it to be a bit, but this is very much what we talked about.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so
Well,
it was kind of fun, and I had our a lot of our friends were on there, so it was fun.
oh, I love our friends.
I know we have a nice community.
Bless you as well. Oh, my new buddy John is going to be joining me. I'm excited about this because John has my new buddy. How you doing, John?
Hi, good morning.
How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm getting better.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to
Yeah,
hear that.
yeah, I'm getting better. So, in the finite of time, in the finite of existence, and so forth, at the end, do we fade to black or do we fade to white?
No, I mean it depends on if you're talking about light or pigment because those are opposites.
Okay.
Light, white is the absence of pigment. In light, white is all color, and in pigment, light is no pigment. So no, I don't know. I'll figure that out at the end.
I think, well, I agree with you on universal consciousness.
Hmm.
I think that's really, I don't think we have any choice. I mean, that's how it has to be.
Yes.
Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. I don't think you can separate organic and inorganic and call it the universe.
Yes. That's a
But
beautiful way of putting it. Thank you.
but if that's the case, then what about pigment? Then, huh?
It's alive.
Are we going to go to black or white?
Yeah.
Pick
I don't.
one.
Like
Pick
maybe
it. Pick
maybe
a
maybe the
number.
light goes white and the body goes dark. That way there's balance.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. I, I really want Aquinas to be right. I want it to go to white. You know,
Well,
black is.
something's going to go to white, but once you create white, you have to have black. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. I get it.
Yeah. You got a number for me today.
Yeah, let's do 49.
49. Beautiful. Okay. The master has no mind of her own. She works with the mind of the people. She is good to people who are good. She is also good to people who aren't good. This is true goodness. She trusts people who are untrustworthy. She also trusts people who aren't trustworthy. This is true trust. The master's mind is like space. People don't understand her, but they look at her and wait. She treats them like her own children. That's 49.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Well, I think what is it? Is there a problem with childlike behavior in adults?
It depends on if you're pooping your pants, maybe, on an elevator. Well, I don't think so. I talk a lot about this idea. I wish we wouldn't label children as children and just say that they're people, because so often we discredit both the activity of children, like especially if adults play and they're playing in a way that isn't, deemed productive, and we discredit or dismiss children too easily.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
children have insights that we would some of us would kill for, right? Like, oh my god, like that's so brilliant, but we don't even let them talk all the time. We don't take them seriously. I think that's happening more. I think we are doing that more as parents. We're listening more, but for so long, and the majority of our lives, I was even though I was born in the '70s, I was born in a children should be seen, not heard environment.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds stifling.
Yeah.
Wow. How about the Tao? If you're to have no mind of your own and therefore be good to, be kind to, or have the virtue to be kind to good people and bad people at the same time,
Hmm.
and have no mind of your own, what does that do to leadership? Is that leadership or is it not?
Well, there's an interesting Tao that talks about leadership in terms of the master. Let me see if I could quickly find it. Where leaders are loved, feared, and hated, but the master is almost unacknowledged, right? This is the Tao that I mentioned when I was on the line with Catherine. So it says, when the master governs the people, they
What
are.
number are you on? What number are you
This
on?
is 17.
All
When
right.
the master governs the people, when the master governs, the people are hardly aware he exists. The next is the leader who is loved. And see, this is the difference, like being a leader versus being one who governs, right? One who governs is one, and like you govern your body, but you're not the leader of every cell in your body. Right. And that's when I start to hear this kind of concept of governing. And you mentioned, like, what does that do to leadership? Well, it destroys leadership, because leadership is this idea that you need followers. And what this 49 is saying, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm always open for the conversation. The master who has no mind of her own, she works with the mind of the people, not with what the people think they want, but with the mind of the people, right? Like in what is, and you move in conjunction with like the flow of things. I think, and
So
you're
if you take that back to 17, then actions are performed with unnecessary speech. The sage doesn't have to have speech. The sage has to
that's
have
right.
presence.
Oh, beautifully said. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Right. And once you have a leader, the leader puts himself in front. And so you great. And like when we go back to 17 here, what we see is the next best is the leader who's loved. How great is it to have a leader who is loved? But that love can be undermined, and then the leader could become one that is feared. And if that doesn't work, he can become one that is despised. And that's the problem with leadership as we understand it, in the idea of that you are leading a group, I think.
Yeah. How about having faith in people who are faithful or not faithful?
Having faith, well,
In other
I,
words,
I
if you're
think
going to
I
put your
think you
faith
need
in
to have
something, I mean,
faith.
you got to have a platform someplace if you're going to, protect yourself in faith, right?
Well, I don't like, if you're protecting yourself, you're starting from a position of fear.
Ah, okay. See, I went out and bought the Dow based on our first conversation.
Is it Stephen Mitchell?
No, it's Jane English.
Oh, I love her translation as well. That was from 1917, right?
Yeah, old one. Yeah, I found an old one in a
Yes,
bookstore.
she has a beautiful way of referencing. Like I should know. Like next time you come on, I'll just use that translation,
Yeah.
because Jane
Anyway,
English is a beautiful translation. It is a little more. It's a little more cryptic, but it's still beautiful.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is your fault. So,
I accept full responsibility for this. Um, so, what is? Can you read 49 for me from the English version?
yeah, sure. Just a minute. Let me find it again. 48, 49. She goes into, first of all, she moves away from the feminine to the masculine. The sage has no mind of his own.
Yes.
He is aware of the needs of others. I am good to people who are good. I am also good to people who are not good. Because virtue is goodness, I have faith in people who are faithful. I also have faith in people who are not faithful, because virtue is faithlessness. Or I'm sorry, faithfulness. I'm sorry, I didn't want to
Yes.
misread
Yes.
that.
Yes.
The sage is shy and humble. To the world, he seems confusing. Men look to him and listen. He behaves like a little child.
Mm,
And that's where my first question came from, was the
yeah.
childlike behavior of adults.
So Stephen Mitchell switches between masculine and feminine because in the original text there is no gender.
Yeah.
Um.
And
So so
thank
so
the
I really
French for
like
that.
that about that.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, well, that's why I enjoy a lot of French, the French language, because they skip gender a lot of the times too. And
No, I didn't know that.
yeah,
So it's interesting that English's and Mitchell's differ on this last line because I think because she says she treats them like her own children, and in English's is the master is seen as a child,
yeah, behaves like a little child. Yeah,
behaves like a little child. And you know, one of the wonderful things about children that I know is that they share, right? Like just instinctively when they've had enough, they'll start to give you their food, you know?
yeah, yeah, right.
and
That's
and
right.
and then once we get this sort of like once we start to move into that space of there's not enough, there's lack, there's fear, there's all of these things we want for ourselves. And 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 imagine if we did that with everything. We were able to act like a child in terms of sharing goodness, sharing treating people with trust, sharing faith, sharing that with people even if they are untrustworthy, not good, or unfaithful.
That's what Jacqueline Way talks about in her talks. She's in Vancouver, and she talks about the heart coherence, where
Yes.
they've done research that your heart sends out a different signal when you do something good.
Yes.
She did a lot of research with school children up in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Beautiful. Like that,
Yeah,
there's got to be a lot of energy transmission under that. Like
yeah,
that's beautiful because doing good things is, especially when it's done with an open heart rather than being done with expectation and other things of that nature.
yeah, because you can go backwards. I mean, think of setting yourself up to feel good by doing something good, and then it doesn't work out right. Then how far down do you go? If you know, what if you
Right. It's
gave
like a
away?
slingshot.
Yeah, you gave away too much money. Now you want your money back. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Every time. Right. Every time.
yeah,
Oh, I remember when I was getting clean and sober, I had a stint of gambling, and I knew my gambling was bad when I started chasing my money. You know, chasing your money is like I missed a bet. I missed a bet I could have made $27,000 on. I just missed the window for making the bet, and at that moment I started like going from one place to another chasing that money, and it didn't take me 2 weeks to realize that, oh, this isn't going to work out. Like we gotta step back.
yeah. That's
But it's
tough.
that idea of like, oh, you know, I'm having fun, but then this thing comes in that changes the whole story.
I think I had to go through the a casino at the Las Vegas airport to get to my flight, and I think the noise. I didn't like the noise in a casino. I've only had one gambling experience in my entire life. I
Mm.
was driving across Nevada, and I was walking out of a restaurant, and I had some change, and I put some change in a machine, pulled the handle, went outside, and the whole building lit up when I was getting in my car. And they came out to get me because I'd hit some kind of a jackpot. And
That's how they get you, John. I'm glad you didn't fall for it. They went out to get you and say, "Hey, you won all this money," and then you're like, "Good, now I can get gas."
yeah,
I'm not staying. Like, thanks. This is the only time I've gambled. You got my 25 cents. I got your 25 grand. I'm gonna walk away.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. I win. All
Yeah,
right.
that's right. You
Okay.
gotta win because the house is stacked against you.
Well, I don't want to take up anybody else. I mean, you got a lot of people that are interested in what you've got to say. I just want to let you know that I did go out and get the Tao on
Yeah,
your
and you have a
suggestion,
beautiful version.
and uh,
Yeah.
and so thank you for that. And carry on. I think
Yes,
I'll.
yes, John. Thank you. We will see you again soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. We're bringing Bella on, and yeah.
Hi, Watching John.
Look at you. I can hear your smile. It is a mile wide.
Oh, really? Because I'm so happy to see John. John, I'm so glad. I was listening to your smile. Yes, your chest looks good. But I'm not your healthcare practitioner, so that's a wisdom up. I don't want any problems, but it looks like you're healing in the right direction. So I'm really, really happy to hear you. And wow, what a discussion.
Yeah.
Um, when you and John were talking, I was just thinking about the reflection light, white light, and
Mm-hmm.
black, because white light reflects everything. It reflects all light,
All color.
all color.
Yeah.
So the snowflakes looks beautiful because it's reflecting all color.
Yeah.
And then in the world, there's always dichotomy, and black light absorbs all color. And when you were speaking, I just thought, isn't this what the Tao is? That it is just love. It reflects everything and absorbs everything, and it just is like children.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, they
Yeah.
just, okay.
Like the Tao can hold both.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
that's what makes it truth, because when we look at John and I as an artist, I look at the difference between light and pigment, or light
Mm-hmm,
and thing, right? Like, so
mm-hmm,
white light is every color of light brought together,
mm-hmm,
where
mm-hmm,
white pigment is no pigment,
mm-hmm,
and black pigment is all pigment, and black light is the absence of color in light.
mm-hmm.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But you keep reminding me. I keep talking to you, thinking this spiritual guru, then you say artist, and I remember. But isn't it strange? You would not be able to see white without dark black, and you'll not be able to see black without white.
Yes, it's not. Yeah, they are, and that's and by you, and I'm getting emotional. I don't know why. But when you mention the Tao can kind of hold both, that
Mhm.
there's a truth in that I understand deeply, and there is, and it's because it's a paradox. It's hard to pinpoint and say this is where both are being held.
But that is love, isn't it?
Yes.
You
I was
what
on a talk earlier where someone asked me, well, what is love? And I said, well, love is everything. Love is hate, and love is
exactly?
war, and love is everything. Like,
Yes,
it is not anything else, like, but love.
yes. And Martin John, you probably get sick and tired of me saying
Oh,
this.
trust me. Yeah.
But once we put boundaries on it, that's we're limiting it to our experience. And therefore, that is no longer love. It's our perception of love.
Right. And that like I mentioned this earlier this morning, like one of the first things I did was I wrote a quote, that I kind of came up with a quote this morning. Let me see if I can find it real quick, because I don't want to
No,
take
no,
up much
take your
time.
time. Take your time.
And I just closed it because it was open a second ago. Marketing. I have very intense I have very intense folder files. Like, they go deep. Um, until we can acknowledge we have a preconceived story, we'll never know the truth.
Exactly. Exactly. Which is why children are such a joy because there's no preconceptions. They just are.
Which brings us back to 49, which John chose. The
Mhm.
master's mind is like space. People don't understand her. They look at her and wait. She treats them like her own children. But in John's version, he was reading the Jane English version from like 1917, I believe, and it said the master is like a child, and the master is seen like a child, right? Because his actions are childlike, and that is like just because it's coming from love, it's coming from like pure love. Like, well, I don't know anything else yet. I don't have the preconceived ideas that I'm
Exactly.
going to have when I'm 46.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it's interesting because yesterday I gave this quote. It says Sanskrit has 96 words for love.
Mm,
Ancient Persian has 80, Greek has 3, and English has 1.
yeah.
So the importance of love in communication in the English language does not have that much importance. And why do I say this? And I'm afraid I'm going to have to name drop. But when I was at Hopkins, I got taught by an anthropology by Professor Sidney Mintz, who's a great cultural anthropologist. And he would always say things with example. So he showed a film of the Inuit Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And Mrs. International, culturally astute, put her hand up and said, "Why is that language so primitive? You're just clicking away."
Mm.
And he said, "Well, I guess it's primitive. They have 400 different terms for snow because snow is important to them.
Yes.
Because there's different snows for building an igloo, there's a different snow for fishing, there's a different snow for water, there's a different snow for everything."
Yeah.
So when Sanskrit and the the ancient religions have different terms for love, it shows the importance that they place to love, on love, because it's all embracing in so many different aspects of their life.
Yeah.
And therefore, when we say, "I love you," I mean, when someone says, "I love you," you think, are they just saying it? Oh, yeah, I love you too. Doesn't mean a thing, you know, because more emphasis is placed on seeing our senses materially. That is more important. No, that I'm sounding dogmatic. The
Uh-huh.
connection, seeing and feeling and tasting, is much more important than this ethereal thing that is
In
in
English.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
and I think I think most of the active languages today do tend toward the logical. You know. Uh, Go
I
on.
mean, I mean, you have Spanish
Yes. No.
family.
These are definite logic languages.
No, no, but look at how people in Spain express themselves in
Yes.
love. I mean, of
Still
course,
very different.
yeah, but it's still part of the Romance language.
Yes. Yes.
When it comes to connection, there's so many different parts, and I'm not even going to attempt to speak my Spanish for you to put a pin
I
inside
would
my
never,
balloon.
never like you know, and in the only way, like, and it's interesting because you're talking about love, the word, and I can't imagine that we have spoken and I haven't expressed that I love you,
I
and
love you too. And
yeah,
you
and
sense me. I was laughing when you were talking. And that's the thing. These things which we could not put a finger to, the frequencies that exist between uh, different people, we can't put a finger on it. And I sense this. I mean, as I've said often, I go into many rooms because I like to support people. But when I get up on the stage, it's because there is something that has hit my frequency, where there is a connection, where you feel that this person is speaking to you, and you may not be in the same country, but you just feel it.
yeah,
And that's the heart connection. And the heart, if we're going to get scientific about it, it's the has more, let's just say that the level of ATP, which is the energy producing substance, is greatest in the heart.
mm,
We call it the heart. And in medicine, before Vivian T. Thomas, and I think I'll do a talk about him for Black
please.
History Month. The gentleman who gave rise to cardiac surgery, he was a janitor
Mm,
simply because of his race. And what happened is that he worked. He gone to high school, graduated, etc. And then he worked for a man from the southern states in Tennessee called Alfred Blakelock, who came from a renowned white family. And love brought them together. And together we had the field of cardiac surgery. How does a janitor end up being Hopkins doctors campaigning for him to get the title doctor
Right.
and for his picture to be on the wall of all the great doctors at Hopkins School of Medicine and and be respected because of the love he had for his craft
Yes.
and the love he had teaching the pioneers of cardiac surgery,
Yes.
the love that they had. You see, love does not have barriers
Mm-mm.
because they did not see him as a black person. They saw him as Vivian because of the love, divine love of his craft.
And and I look at love and so broadly, and it all starts with having that love for yourself too, to be
Exactly.
able to trust that you can love outside of maybe the belief system that is around you. It is possible for you to love yourself beyond your station, as they say. And those are things that are very like that stick so many people in the
Mhm,
mud of their own
mhm.
lives, is because of a story that they keep telling themselves over and over, which then relates back to the quote, until we can acknowledge we have a preconceived story, we'll never know the truth.
Exactly. And I'm going to send you the YouTube video of his life. It's
I
an
would love that. Yeah.
it's an amazing story. Totally amazing. 2 years ago on his birthday, I did a talk about him because the campaign to get 5,000 signatures so it could be on the U.S. postage stamp.
Oh, I love
And
stamps. I love it. Like, stamps are so great. Just putting that in. Buy stamps, everybody.
I have to write to them and see whether that has been done. But the thing is that when I read his story and I watched the film, I just said grace is enough. And like you said, because he had a sense of who he was, he didn't need the labels.
Yes.
And because, and, love, that divine intelligence, the Tao, souls, everything. We think we are greater than that with our finite experiences. But when it moves, all these little barriers we put in its way, it just it doesn't even kick it over, it just carries on. And all we have to do is to surrender. Martin John, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And John, I'm so happy you're up and running. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.
So so there's a Black Heritage stamp coming out this year, and it's Edmonia Lewis. Do you know who
Mhm.
that is? I don't know who that is.
Could you give me a little bit? We'll exchange on DM. I
Yes,
just
sounds good.
thank you.
I'll send you a link. Love
Yeah,
you, dear. We'll talk
thank
soon.
you very much. Bye.
We're going to be bringing on Mary Kay. I remember her name because my mom used to have Mary Kay products.
I started taking notes, and I am not getting my PhD, but combined in 3 universities, well, you know what? That's up to the world. And
That's
I
right.
7 languages. And
So Mary, do you got a number for me today? I
wait,
know
wait, wait,
Bella
wait. Can
never
I just say,
never picks one.
okay, I saw the stamp that you're talking about. I'm gonna buy it today.
Okay, yeah, I don't
And
know
I
who that is.
love
Do you?
stamps. Oh my god. Oh, I don't know what happened to my collection.
Yeah, I never.
Another
I
that
collected when I was very
me
young, but I'm
too.
not one to. I'm not one to keep things around too long. So,
Well,
what number you got
all the
for me
time.
today?
I don't know for whatever reason, and I know who's doing it. Basically, they threw me out of the police department because they know it. Thank God they did me a favor. So I'm gonna speak language of the. I speak several languages. Armenian is an orphan language. That was the first language that I spoke. That's what I am. And the only person that I really know that studied it was Lord Byron. And he said his final statement was, "It's the language of the gods." And there is so many forms of love. And Bella, I am so sorry to say, maybe it's not written properly, or whoever wrote that. Greeks have many, many forms, the definitions of love. Why did I write Isabel? That's an opera singer who's related to me. Isabel by um,
I think
silly
you were
lace. Hold
referencing
on.
you were referencing the version of the Tao that John bought, maybe.
Maybe I don't.
So do you have a number for me today?
Yeah, number three.
Number three, 333.
333.
If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal.
Cha.
The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores,
Wow.
by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything. I read that incorrectly.
Well,
Let me go back. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in
mhm.
those who think that they do know. Practicing not doing, everything will fall into place. So, first thoughts?
First thoughts is I am grateful for all the losses, but the oddest thing is people just give me other things. I don't ask. I don't want it. I've been trying to empty this place for ages. It just keeps filling up with, and it's the power of love.
Yes.
And they're random people. They're not people that I know, and there is some that I have get
I
them.
think we have read this one before because I do recall us talking about overesteeming great men, but maybe it wasn't with you. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. How do you see that?
Oversteam great.
Overesteem. So like
When
you give
like
them too much
I
esteem.
so I tell you, oh Martin, you are great. You are great. I could use so many subliminal messages. One little, say it again, please.
If you overesteem great men, people become powerless
Yes, they lose their true power, their
because
true
they
essence.
have right because now you have a
Their,
different scale of which to measure power because you're overesteeming one
boy,
person. So
do I have
we
rulers
may
in this house.
what's that?
Boy, I'm just looking at a ruler. Wow, that's my old ruler when I studied art. Wow.
So yeah, when you overesteem great men, so if we overesteem someone like Jeff Bezos
Yeah.
Trump or Putin, or if we just overesteem somebody who is great, and every man, every woman, every person, everything,
Yes.
every object is great, but if we overesteem any of them, you change the measure of how we look at power, and then you make people powerless because you just elevated someone above the
Their
norm or whatever.
their being. It's not even the norm. Their true
Yeah, Like, because they are human, they are fallible, there is all of this, and if you overesteem them, you make other people powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal.
Yes. But
You know, go on.
and it creates a state of confusion. Confusion is necessary for rebuilding. So is robberies.
Hmm.
One way or I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I don't follow,
I
unfortunately.
know I'm having a difficult time because I think in different
Yeah,
ways
languages.
and languages and cultures.
If you
I live
overvalue
in
possessions, people begin to steal. So once like a possession doesn't have any value, really. Like, you just have
really,
this thing. Like, food has value, but if
yeah,
you overvalue it, then you try to save it. And as soon as you try to
and
save
it
it, like,
could
oh, like,
rot,
look, what?
and it could rot.
Right. So this idea of like, oh, I got this pie. This pie is so delicious. So it's the best thing I've ever had. I'm going to have it for dinner tomorrow as well. I put it in the fridge. I wake up and someone ate my motherfucking pie.
Yeah,
Like, all of a sudden you have like, and when you ate my pie, you stole my pie, right? We have
yeah,
then created the ability for you to steal, because I had the expectation of having it. I had the expectation of gaining from it, of earning from it, of having an experience, because I overvalued that possession. It's just a piece of pie. It's supposed to be eaten, but because I put so much value on it, it's the most delicious thing I've ever eaten, which maybe it is for the time, but maybe it's not in all time. You will eat other delicious things, let it go. So that is how I see that idea of overvaluing possessions. People begin to steal because you created the measure of what stealing or robbery is.
I remember like going to museums and traveling. Las Vegas, it's so funny, gambling, MGM. Um, wow, how do I put this together? So I would go and I would be like delighted by looking at things, objects in hotels in Dallas, Las Vegas, California. I don't even remember where the hell I was sometimes. And they looked so beautiful at that place. So what I would do, I would save money, 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 and because I was fortunate, I lived a privileged life, and I'm still privileged, and I would go buy something similar and put it like in a spot, and then it didn't look right.
Yeah.
It didn't belong here.
Right. And
I
that's such a beautiful way of looking at it, because like, you can overvalue something that you see, but its value is really in where it is and how it was considered.
Yes, like there's a room divider that a friend of mine has, kind of related to me. He's former sergeant. And the other day I was talking to him and he was like, Mary, just come and take it. And I'm like, well, I need to remove some stuff from here. If I take it, where am I going to put it? My hallway is cluttered because I'm reorganizing. And it is a state of confusion.
Yeah. I
Uh,
see what you're getting at then.
so
The
he was,
master the master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by
yes.
weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve.
So as a businesswoman at the age of 15, I was like, basically, I would tell my mother, you threw me to the wolves. And she's like, well, you got to work. If you want to go to college, that's your responsibility because I'm not paying for it. And I had to drop out because of business. I would travel for business.
So how
It's
does that come back to emptying people's minds and filling their cores?
there is times in life, many, many times, not just once, not just twice, not three times, not even thousands of times, that you need to empty and cut the cord and say,
And be
That's
willing, be willing to do what is necessary at this moment,
yes.
because maybe you don't have a choice. And if you don't have a choice, you have to move forward with the way things are. This will weaken your ambition, and it will just make you do what is necessary, and it will toughen your resolve. You will be able to step forward in being who you are with the circumstances that are presenting themselves at the moment.
Wow. And just recently, getting back to PhD, I got, I have a relative, NYU. We text all the time. We hardly speak verbally. And he sent me something. I'm going to try to send it to you. I know you gave me the site. And I wrote back, "You are a true master and an eagle." He's a very important person.
Yeah. And so this continues to go on. He helps people lose everything they know,
Yes.
everything they desire, and
Because,
creates confusion
yes.
in those and creates confusion in those who think that they know. He
And
helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think that they know.
because basically, I told one of another cousin in Toronto, basically, I told him off. I said, he thought that I would never achieve what was my true goal. And she's a former government worker, high ranking, retired. And I think she sent,
Practicing, practicing, and then it finishes up this idea of
okay,
practicing not
one more
doing.
thing.
Oh yeah, go on.
So when I retired, I'm sitting around doing nothing, and so I decided to call Blas. So I said, "May I ask you a question?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. I'm always available." And I said, "How about if I come to the hospital and maybe help you in your research? Because I come from a long line of doctors." And he said, "You don't have the credentials." Whoa. I said, "I could do research." He said, "No, continue what you're doing." I said, "I don't want to do it." I said, "You know what, Blas, one day I'm going to be in medicine." He didn't reply.
There's no reason to reply.
He didn't reply.
Yeah, there's no reason to reply.
He said, he said something like, "Keep doing what you're doing." And yes, I have worked with several doctors. I was able to reduce type 2 glucose levels.
Hold
Not
on. Are you Mary? Hold on. Are you with me? Like we're
I'm
reading
with
number
you. I'm
3 of the Tao.
confused.
Like I don't
It's
know.
a
I don't know where you've
confusion.
gone. I want you with me so we can get through this
Okay, I'm
before
with you.
we run out
I'm,
of this minute.
okay, I'm
So
focused.
focus with me for a moment.
I
So
am.
practice not doing, and everything will fall into place. Here we are, and what you're doing is you're telling me all of the things that you've done, and
Yeah.
things that haven't fallen into place. And I'm sure your life has fallen into place, but it's fallen into place due to the things that you are not doing, not of the things that you're doing.
Wow.
Mary, I'm so grateful when you come
Thank
and you
you.
challenge me in my Tao. I love it.
Wow. Thank
Like,
you so much.
it's beautiful to have you on. Thank you so much.
You're beautiful yourself. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Wow, we had John and Bella joined me, and Catherine joined me, and Mary. It was a good day today on the Tao. If you guys, if anybody wants to come up and like work with me on a number, if you have a number between 1 and 81, I would be grateful to host you right now. And if not, I will begin to sign off. But Mary is coming back on. Mary, we are not picking another number. You can say
No,
whatever you need.
no.
What's up?
You don't know what I just found. I have
What'd
to
you
tell you.
find? Kelly's going to join me in a moment, so make it
Playing
quick.
card, Joker, Casino, Las Vegas.
There you go. See, it's all
Sluts,
connected.
lots of fun.
Have a great day, love. We're bringing Kelly Swenson in. Kelly and I are buddies, and I'm really glad that she's coming in. It's always nice to chat with her. Kelly, how are you doing?
Doing okay, I think. Getting my hair done today. Hello, friends down there.
You're getting your hair done?
You still hear me? Yes, so excited. And so
Yeah, you're back.
I mean, like, I'm either gonna cut it all off or I don't know beyond that. But
Well, I'm a fan. I'm always a fan of short hair, and like I was a fan when I was a kid of Sinead O'Connor, and like all
oh
the short
yes,
hair
that was
ladies
so
back in the day,
brave.
like
So
yeah.
brave.
So I one of my best friends, Amanda, she shaves her head as well, and
Oh really?
it's yeah, and it's like just it brings out, like, for me it just reminds me of that, like, strength of women,
My
not that I think you should do that. I'm just saying that, like there is no limit to how a woman can cut their
it's
hair and
empowering.
still,
It's empowering,
yeah,
yeah. It's like
yeah,
taking another element of your or aspect of yourself back. I mean, I miss my
that's
long
right.
hair and I've had it super long many times, but I don't know. I feel like maybe I almost did it this summer, and I'm really feeling like I need to just complete that task. There's this one of my like extra kids. Her parents passed away a couple years ago, and like a couple months, well, about a year after that happened, she just came over. She was like, "I just need to shave my head," and she was like 22 with like this beautiful, thick, super curly because she's Puerto Rican hair. And we just like shaved it all off, and yeah, it was an
Yeah.
amazing experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been cutting my own hair since I was 14, 15. So
Nice.
I've saved a lot of money on other people cutting my hair. But like, I mean, I had mohawks along the way. I mean, I've done things with my hair, but really it's just clippers and
So you're
nothing
on the
too long.
other side of it. You kind of need to just grow it all out and get all crazy.
I can't, like, it gets so crazy irritable, like when I start, if my hair gets long, I just get it off. Like, it's so, like, I can't even be in my body, I can't sleep, like, even when my facial hair gets long, like I've never had a full beard. I tried, and it was like 3 days into the irritation that I was like, no, got to get rid of it. So that was what's happened to be.
But I relate to that too. And one of my other kids is like that with her hair
Yeah.
as well. So
So you got, and your buddy John joined me today. I don't know if you heard, but it was a really
I
wonderful
wasn't
conversation.
here. Oh,
He
cool.
he bought a copy of the Tao because of our conversation.
Really? He's the
Yeah.
latest. I love him.
Love
Cool.
that guy.
I know. He's a fun, inspirational human being. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anybody who can like help each of us, like how we can all like just build on expanding our points of view together. It's a good group of people to be around.
Yeah. So do you have a number for me today?
Let's pick number. I'm trying to pick numbers I wouldn't normally pick to think of.
That's
So
always tough.
19.
Yeah.
19.
19. 19. Throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. If these aren't enough, just stay in the center of the circle and let all things take their course.
That's a bit shorter than I expected.
That's a bit what? Shorter? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You're like, I want this to go on. Nope.
Okay.
Pretty short, pretty short.
Throw
Really
away.
throw away.
Will you say the
Throw
first line
away.
again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Throw away holiness and so we'll just go through this. Throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, because without trying to, it's like not seeking outside of you, but just
Right.
accepting yourself.
Like wisdom is something that we, like we see outside of us, right? That is like, that is wisdom. And this is what you need to achieve. That is
Yeah,
holiness.
attaining.
And
Yeah,
this is what you need to attain. Beautiful
yeah.
word. Yeah. Like, and people will be 100 times happier because they're not striving to be wise. They're not striving to be holy. And these are the two aspects, right? Either you're spiritually holy or you're intelligent, right? Like, and you can, like move on the other side of that
And
spirituality. You can move in the
separation, because you're separating, you're seeing somebody as separate than you. You're seeing them as maybe elevated
oh.
or, something of that nature. So that's lonely then, you know?
Oh, that is beautiful, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like because you want to achieve something, so you're looking outside of yourself. I look back at my life as when I was, an addict and all of those sorts of things, and when I was coming out of that, I saw myself as so much less than everybody else. And I just wanted to be approved by others, and I just wanted to be good enough for others, even though I always was. It was this thing of like, I didn't believe that there was something that was more holy than me. There was something that was more wise than me. There was something that was more well read than I was. And so I couldn't ever achieve that. And I was very, very sad and trying to be happy. Yeah. Throw away morality and justice and people will do the right thing.
Well, because we're born all doing the right thing. I feel like,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So that's that for me, really. Like, if you're not trying, again, it's trying to be other than you already are. If you don't have the fear or like consider that you're not enough, then it just is. You are.
Yeah, morality and justice really this relates back to, like, they are the same sorts of things as holiness and wisdom, right? Holiness holds morality. Just wisdom holds justice, right? Like education or knowledge holds justice. Like, you have to do this in order to be this. And these are like two different kinds of people, right? The spiritual person will be like, I am doing the moral good. And then the wise person, the person that is in, the educational realm, is like, this is the just thing to do, this is the just way of going about things.
Agreed. And background noise is I'm trying to like block
Oh,
that
that's
from
okay.
you.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
sound.
So, and then we have throw away industry and profit and there won't be any thieves.
That's a fun one. I mean, yes, it's always so obvious whenever you just like stop and think about it, right? Like, if we
Yeah,
could all just live by the most obvious of rules. With
that's right.
industry and profit, it's just truly like trying again to excel above and beyond, trying to put yourself, leverage other people so that you can feel taller, although you actually wouldn't be, and push other people down in the process.
Mm. And industry, it says industry and profit. And
Mm-hmm.
we can look at that. It's like, oh, those are both the same thing, but isn't religion an industry?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't education an industry? Isn't government an industry? All of these things are industries of experience, or industries of, where people like try and create the things in which we stand upon, right? The justice. Like, government is an industry that creates justice, right? Religion is an industry that creates morality. And from there, they have the individuals fighting for both wisdom and holiness. And all of a sudden, we have created thieves, sad people doing the wrong thing, right? Like, doing things like, I was talking with Julie today because she was listening to Parliament, and I don't know if you've ever seen Parliament argue about things,
No,
but they just stand up and yell, and they
it
like
sounds funny though.
in the United States, we have this facade of professionalism, right? We say, "Oh, can I speak? Yes, you can speak, and I will go up to the mic, and I will have my time." And even though I can speak in a professional way, I can really be hurtful and I can do all of these things, but there's this facade of professionalism. And in Parliament, they just stand up and yell and they shake their fist and they do all of this kind of wild stuff. And I don't know why I brought that up. It's about industry and government. And because, like she was saying that, no, I lost it. I lost the reason I brought that
Well,
up
what
because
I can hear though is we need community, but I think industry and profit. I almost hear that as going together. It's like education, like teaching, storytelling, like helping, assisting, growing. Like we need to have the person across from you be able to reflect the things within you. And so, but when you add profit again, then it's the like elevation of one overall, and like we could there. I mean, I know it's idealism. I know it's unheard of as far as we know in history, but there truly is a way. If I lived in a little self-sustaining community, I absolutely would love to get up and do all the gardening for everybody in the community. I loved the dirt and I loved building things with my hands. And I also love like talking and like thinking. So all these things I would innately do for everybody at any point, healing, like all of it. Like, and I wouldn't ask for a dollar, but in turn I would have all my needs met as well. It's idealistic, but I do think that people can do that. And this is just, I mean, some of these are idealisms in the way that we're experiencing life right now, anyways, right? So, like, yeah.
Yeah. And, I always like to look at profit in a number of different ways as well. Like, how do you profit from a conversation? How do you profit from all of these things? And maybe those things are fine and good, but maybe it's not about you profiting at all. Maybe it's just about you being here. You don't have to profit from a conversation, but you can be in the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. High intention, low attachment to the outcome. Show up
Yeah,
with all your glory and don't be worrying about like what the outcome is. Just do your best.
that's right. If these three aren't enough, i.e., throwing away holiness and wisdom, throwing away morality and justice, and throwing away industry and profit, or making people 100 times happier, having people do the right thing, or having there not be any thieves. If these three aren't enough, just stay in the center of the circle and let all things take their course. I think that this kind of relates to this idea of like, if you don't know what to do right now, just sit down. just let it unfold.
Yeah. Well, we don't have any control. Control is the
Right.
illusion. So if you just be, and then
You
you
know,
can experience.
as soon as we get upset, we may be upset because of an idea that we have. This relates back to this quote that I wrote today. Um, until we can acknowledge we have a preconceived story, we'll never know the truth. And as soon as we get upset, that is because we had a preconceived idea of what was supposed to happen. We weren't just letting it take its course. We had a concept that we were holding on to that we wanted to recognize. Throw away morality and justice. Again, that's an idea of what, like, this isn't just. Well, just stay at the center of the circle. Throw away that and you will do the right thing. You will do the right thing and the right thing is just, even if it doesn't look that way at this moment, maybe.
I did lose my train of thought for a second there because my daughter was worrying about some mud in her shoe. But will you say the first part of what you just, oh, wait. Yeah, no, the brain, just like you lost your thought a minute ago. I'm like, no, what did
Yep.
you
It's like,
say?
it's
Just
coming.
like,
It's coming.
I
No,
know,
it's
I know.
it's gone.
It's like a burp.
That's right. It's like, or a sneeze. How about those sneezes that come? Oh, it's coming.
Sneeze.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. When
And
did it
you
go?
really want that. Yeah, you really want it. You're like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh,
It's going to feel so good. Oh no, I lost it. It's like,
lost the sneeze.
oh, well, we'll have to try again later.
That's funny. It was profound for anybody who's still listening.
I'm
Just
sure.
letting you
As for
know, it was
everybody that's listening,
profound.
yes, Kelly's thought that you didn't get to hear was super profound
Oh,
and deep, and
it
you
was.
should be moved by it because I am. Like, so beautiful. Thank you for wrapping it up in such a concise, beautiful way. That's so
Yes,
amazing.
no ambiguity. That's not my thing at
Yes,
all.
no, there's like, wow. That is, everything is just out there. And I looked up the tracking number on the painting and it should be there tomorrow.
So excited. So
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be so great. Right.
I'm glad
Love,
you're
love,
going to
love.
have it. So yeah, thank you for joining me. That was
Thank you.
19, and I hope I hope you have a wonderful day.
Some of these I always think I would just love to put these, like write them on something and put them on the wall. Like some of these are so just things that would be nice in frames. And so thank you. Thank you for being here, Mark. Hope you have
Oh,
a
well,
wonderful day too.
thank you for joining me. Yes, it is true. You know, like writing these and contemplating them. That's why I do the Tao of the Day. You know, I talk with you about it, and I'll be honest. When I'm done with Tao of the Day, I don't know any one of the Taos that I read. Like it doesn't stick with me. What sticks with me is the connection I've made with you. And that's the thing that sticks with me. This the connection I made with Bella and John and Catherine and Mary and Kelly. That's what sticks with me. The Tao is for you. Right? I am here as a way to just maneuver and give you the number that you ask for and then communicate with you about it because I've been reading the Tao for decades. And I think it's wonderful for us to be able to do that because it seems like I'm giving this to you as your meditation for the day. So Kelly can talk about throwing away holiness and wisdom and morality and justice and industry and profit as she relates to her kids today, as she goes through her day. You know, her kid has a problem with the mud on her shoes, and that is, like that is a preconceived idea that her daughter wants to approach her day with. And maybe after Kelly reads this, she can be like, huh, hey, kiddo, let's stay in the center of the circle. Let's wash these off and then get you on your way. And that's good, without having to make it a big deal, without having to dive into the, how unjust it is for me to have mud on my shoes, right? Like, or how wrong it is for that to be the case because they're brand new and they're not supposed to be dirty or whatever they are, like, or that I'm not supposed to have this happen. And so that's something that we can each walk away with, right? And Catherine can look at hers, and John can talk about like being childlike. All of us can walk away with something, and I really appreciate that I get this vehicle to be able to do that. Oh, my buddy Dr. Rao joining me for the Tao. I was just wrapping up, but let's see if he's got a number, if he just wants to say hello. Dr. Rao, how are you doing?
Hi, Martin. How are you?
I'm well. I love hearing your smile. I've been catching you on the Instagram,
Yeah,
and it's been great.
yeah. Nice. I just want to share something I was going through the last 2, 3 days.
Yeah, please.
So I just want to tell you. There is what's called no mind state of mind.
Okay.
What it is we both know the Brahman or Tao are the force we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
So being in that is the no mind.
Yeah.
So that means kind of mind is purified and then also knows its place for external things, but inwardly you stay in the Brahman or Tao or that force that we always talk about.
Yes.
And that is, there was a story illustrated in towards that. I thought I will tell you that. It will take a minute. I won't
Please.
stay, you know.
Oh yeah. We're brothers. You have my platform is yours, my friend.
I know, I know. What I wanted to say was that the story really fascinated me. I thought I should share with my friends here, like you are one of them. So I thought Martin will appreciate it. That's why I came on. This prince was there in ancient city of Varanasi. They call it Kashi. And then they were playing a play when he was 5 year old. And they were looking for a small girl to play a role in that play, but there were no girls available at the time, or something happened to the girl who was playing. So they dressed this kid who is only 5 year old as a girl and let him play that role, right?
Hmm.
And that goes well, but he looks very cute. So the king says, "Oh, this guy looks very cute in this dress like a girl. Why didn't you make a portrait of him?" And then they draw the portrait of that girl. Those days, no cameras, just oil painting, right?
Hmm.
And that stays in the palace, and it stays all in the basement But then 15 years pass, and our prince becomes 20-year-old, and he goes and he's meddling with in the basement, and he finds this picture. He thought that girl was beautiful, and he falls in love with her. And he wants to marry her. He thinks the date says so long away, so it should be my age. So she should be, beautiful princess. Now I'm going to marry her. And he doesn't know that was him, right?
Right.
Then he goes on dreaming about marrying her, and then he's off track. So the parents notice that. They send the prime minister to find out what's going on with him, because he's not telling them. Then the prime minister goes and makes friends with the prince a little bit, asks him, what's going on with you? Then he says, oh, I am in love, I want to marry this girl. Oh yeah, that's very nice. Who is that girl? Oh, when did you meet her? No, I did not meet her. I saw her portrait. Okay, show me the portrait. Then he goes, takes him downstairs. The moment prime minister sees the picture, he knows he is profoundly mistaken, right? So he
Yes.
says, Prince, you have to sit down for this. You have to tell you something. And then the prince sits down. The prime minister asks him, this is also happened. This is you. There is no princess like that. This is all you. Then immediately everything falls out for the prince, right?
Hmm.
Like that. We are the Tao, we are the Brahman, we are the force. But we think something outside of that is there, that is us. That is the mind made projected world.
Yes.
The
That is how
moment
we
you are,
see everything.
say there's no princess of Kashi, it's only us, right? And once you see that, everything becomes much more easy, and the mind is pure too. It doesn't grasp for anything. See, that is the bane of our civilization is we kind of grasp for something else to happen, something else to come along our way, something to grow into and all that. But that is the Tao, that's the,
That's right. That is us.
yes, that's
It
it.
is, it is always us, like everything that we see. And that doesn't mean that we don't need to fall in love, and we don't need to do, I mean
No,
we don't need to, but it doesn't mean that we're not supposed to. Like, we are in this body, but we have to
no, no.
recognize that that
All,
person is us.
yeah, they're all accessories. They're
That's
not
right.
us.
They're
That's
not
it.
us, and they're not
Yeah,
ours. It's not
yes,
our. It is it, and everything that takes place is just speaking to us
yeah,
of us.
yeah.
And
That's all I
without,
wanted to
oh, that's a beautiful story. I'm definitely going to use that in my
say.
repertoire.
Okay. See you, John.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Everybody needs to follow Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao does wonderful work, talking about all of the things that I talk about. So if you've listened to me at all, even if you just listened to me today and there's any interest in what I'm talking about, the things that Dr. Rao is talking about is right in line, and you should definitely follow him as well. Catherine hosts the Clearly Catherine podcast, which I listen to on a semi-regular basis. She does 2 episodes a week. I don't always get to listen to them, but I do love her work. She talks about intuition and business guidance, and that's beautiful work. John is, like we talked about John a little bit. You should definitely follow him. I just was introduced to John. Don't know a whole lot about him, but I do know he's brilliant. And Kelly has been reading the has been Kelly speaks beautifully about so many things that I speak about as well, about being, about parenting, and she has also started reading The Never-Ending Story here on Wisdom, and it is beautiful to be read to here. And so, yeah, and so each one of these people, I think you should definitely follow and be connected with, because they're doing some beautiful mind work. And so I appreciate everybody that came and joined me today. Thank you so much. I am Martin John, the host of the Recover Yourself podcast. I also I also work with clients one-on-one in over 4 sessions. I don't like to call myself a coach, because so many coaches kind of take you on a long journey of coaching. And because I'm coming out of addiction, I focus on not having a codependent relationship with you. So if that's something that you have dealt with in the past in terms of codependency and other things like that, addiction, those are the things that I help you work through. I want you to piece things together. And just like my quote that I read a couple times today, which is, until we can acknowledge we have a preconceived story, you'll never know the truth of who you are, the truth of what you are, the truth of the depth of that you are. And those are the things that I want to help you grow into. Reach out to me through Instagram or through my podcast or through any venue you can. I have links here on my profile that you can use and contact me through those. So until next time, love you guys. I hope you're doing well and keeping yourselves warm during the winter, cool if it's summer where you are, and we will be in touch soon. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.